Right, we're in a bit of a heat wave in the UK at the moment. It's been going on for quite a while. I'm not complaining because we had such a rainy winter, but it's way too hot in the workshop to do any machining. In the daytime it's been getting up to about 110 Fahrenheit, and like I said, it's impossible to actually do anything. So I've come out early in the morning to show several new gadgets that I've got and tools, really excellent things which I've got from Gearbest.com. So the first is this portable LCD digital microscope. Now this is something that not many newcomers would think you would use in a workshop. But these are used in industry, education, collection research, biological, mineral. It's 1 to 600 times magnification. It has a super battery working for up to 6 hours after a charge. And it's a really excellent piece of care. When you're into precision engineering, you need precision instruments. And particularly if you're doing very small engineering work and making very tiny components. I'd just like to show you a boring bar that I have. Well, it's an insert. It's a solid carbide insert, and this is the smallest boring bar that I use. On occasions I make extremely small components. This one has a hole going right the way through it, and like I said, it's a solid insert, the whole thing. This goes into a holder and then goes into a CNC a machine turret or whatever, and the coolant goes right the way through that hole and is directed onto the end of the insert, like I say, for really tiny boring work. And I haven't got the actual tool holder for this insert, but I actually hold it directly into my tool holder on my tool post. And like I say, on occasions I do extremely small components, or make them. And this tool here, the actual shaft of the boring bar is only 2mm in diameter. And that's just one of the things you'll see what this microscope's good for. So when you get the microscope, you get this solid aluminium base plate which has some really nice rubber feet on it, and they're firmly fixed to that. You have the aluminium bracket, that's nice and solid, and that one just screws to the base plate. The Allen key is provided as well, so just screw that one on. And just nip that one up. And when you're finally tightening those up, just make sure when you look at it from the top that it's nice and square to the base. There is a little bit of movement, and you can actually hold it in position when you're doing those Allen bolts up. The bracket here has a very fine thread in it. This part comes already assembled in the box, and that one just screws into that fine thread. Just be careful that you don't get it cross-threaded or whatever, and screw that one down as far as it goes, and then back off a little bit, and then you use the collar on the bottom here to tighten it up, so that's nice and square on the actual base plate as well. So then just back off these two locking screws so that the bore is clear, And then the actual microscope goes down into that collar there, and then you just lock those screws up there. You don't have to over tighten those, just nip them up to lock the microscope head in position. The microscope comes with a nice little instruction pamphlet, gives you all the details, and it comes with the charger with USB charging and the cable. And there wasn't one supplied with it, but you just need one of these little adapters if you live in the UK, to convert it to the UK socket. And you can get these plug adapters almost anywhere now in the UK. It can go in either way, or you can just use the plug shaving type socket, and obviously that can go in either way, depending on which way you want the USB to come out. And the charger connects to the small USB socket on the side here. And on the instruction pamphlet it says it's a high capacity lithium battery that needs about 4 hours to be fully charged when it's charging. That's obviously when you first get the microscope, and it comes with the usual displays to show when that's charging or fully charged. Also on this side you have the memory card slot, and it supports micro SD 1 to 64 gigabytes, and when it goes in, the actual top of the memory card is facing the front. Just push that one in there and push it down with your nail until it clicks, and that one's locked into position. And there's an option in the menu to actually format that memory card. I've fully charged the microscope and it's ready to switch on, but just before I do that I'll just show you the main parameters or specifications. The pixels are HD 3.6 MP. Display is 4.3 inches HD LCD. The magnification is 1 to 600 times continuous magnification. Object distance 15mm to infinity. The built-in lithium battery, which is high capacity, and it can work for 6 hours continuously, and it actually supports 15 different languages. So this is the on-off button, and it's one press to turn it on. And when I turned the microscope on, you will have seen the lights light up on the end here, and these consist of 8 super bright LED lights which are long life, and this is a great feature because it encircles the lens and gives full even lighting on whatever you're magnifying. And you can adjust the brightness of the LEDs with this small thumb wheel on the side here, and you can see that changing the brightness. And at the moment the menu doesn't stand out really nice on the camera because it's picking up the surface of the actual base plate, so I'll put a piece of black vinyl under the lens so you can see the menu much clearer. And it's all dead easy. First on the menu you have resolution, you have date tag, and then you have motion detection and cyclic record. The motion detection is if you have something obviously live under the microscope, if it detects movement it will start recording automatically. And the microscope does record in high definition. And the cyclic record is obviously when the memory card is full, it'll wipe out probably the oldest recorded data and re-record over that. Plus you can date tag the work and also alter the megapixel resolution. When you press the menu button again, it goes over to the other menu. There's the format mode for formatting the memory card, language setting, auto power off, screensavers or whatever. And then you go through the various different selections by pressing the forward arrow here and choosing what you want to change, and carry on down, and then it goes into the next set. So you've got reset system, frequency, time setting, video, rotate, press it again right the way through, and then you've got fill in light and version, and that's the end of that actual menu. And then obviously you go back using the back arrow here, and it's all very easy and straightforward to set up. And obviously when you change something in the menu, you press OK on the end here to enter the new setting. So it's all dead easy, quick to set up and use, and that's something I really like about electronic equipment like this. Not a lot of time wasted on trying to work things out. So now I'm just going to show you various things that I use it for in the workshop. The boring bar that I showed earlier, 2mm diameter, I've just put that under the microscope and magnified it. And you do that by adjusting the height of the microscope with these knobs at the back here. The closer you take the lens, the higher the magnification, and that's nice and smooth to operate. It'd be better if I was on a wooden surface, a hard wooden surface, but I'm on this cloth here so it moves about a bit. And that's what it looks like. On the front here you have a focusing knob, so when you alter the actual height of the microscope lens, you've got to retune that one in to get the best focus. And although that boring bar still cuts nice, on the microscope you can actually see the beginning of wear on the actual insert. So that's great for looking at that, something you wouldn't see with the naked eye or even have difficulty seeing with a magnifying glass. So the microscope is really good for actually looking at the condition of turning tools, carbide inserts or whatever, and possibly finding out why an actual insert or carbide insert or even the HSS tooling isn't given a good finish on work. And the surface texture that you see around the carbide insert there is obviously the base plate of the microscope. Some people don't like that surface finish on the screen, but there's no need to worry about that. If you want to change it, just use a piece of black card or whatever card colour you like. Like I showed earlier, you can put a piece of black vinyl on it or whatever. And I'll just show you that to give you a less busy, clearer background. I'll use a piece of ordinary computer printing paper and put the same insert on there. And there you can see a much clearer profile image. And that's much better for seeing a clear image of the radius of the tool or the profile. Another great thing the microscope can be used for is when you're grinding up your own HSS tooling. I've ground up this tool here for doing chamfers or whatever, and you can obviously look at the end of that one. This one's pretty worn as well. Under the naked eye it doesn't look too bad. And you can see a bit of a flat has worn on the radius of that tool. It doesn't actually need regrinding, it basically just needs going around with a diamond stone. And again, there the printing paper gives a much better, clearer picture than the actual surface of the base plate. And now I'll take the microscope down to give higher magnification. And you can see that even better. You can even see the individual grinding marks on the tool. So like I say, it's great for grinding up the HSS tooling, and you can get absolutely perfect radiuses using it. And this is one of my boring bars, carbide brazed on the end there. To the naked eye it looks pretty good. Put it under the microscope. And you can clearly see heat marks and where that tool is worn. Plus there's some certain components that I machine where I don't want a radius in the corner of the bore. So this microscope is actually perfect for checking the corner of the tool to see that there is no radius. I actually prefer the printing paper background to the actual surface of the base plate of the microscope, but like I said, it's great because you can actually use whatever background colour you like to give a good view of whatever you're magnifying. The microscope is also excellent for checking threaded components, and particularly if you're making hydraulic or pneumatic systems like I sometimes do. The threads have to be in the best possible condition. And putting the screw or whatever component you like on the microscope on a piece of paper or card like I've shown here makes it much easier to actually manoeuvre the component around under the microscope lens without getting your fingers in the way. So you can see all of the component, and you can use a piece of blue tack or a white tack like I've got here to actually hold it in place on that paper. And you can just move it around like that, giving a full view of the threads on that screw, and that makes it so much easier. And you could make up a dedicated slide board, that's what I would call it, for actually sticking the component on and actually using each time you use the microscope. Like I say, you could actually use all different backgrounds to get the clearest possible picture. And you can see there that by moving the paper, it's much easier than trying to use your fingers with the component rolling around on the surface and moving all over the place. It's much easier to use this method for examining things like this. There isn't any measurement facilities in the microscope, but you can actually lay a metal rule on the actual card background like I have here, or incorporate your own measurement system into a movement background card. So when you buy a microscope like this, don't limit yourself to what you get in the box. You do get a lot for your money in this microscope. It's a brilliant piece of kit, especially in the workshop. But like I say, you can actually make up all different things for it, like a card slide for underneath. And like I say, you can actually incorporate measurements into that card and make all different things to make this microscope more usable for whatever you're using it for. And when you're not in the workshop, you can take it out and have some great fun with it. I've got one of the hen's mealworms here. I'm quite interested in wildlife, insects, plants and all different types of things. And on the microscope it looks absolutely brilliant. And this is about the lowest magnification of that mealworm. And that's about the highest magnification. That's the head of the mealworm insect under this microscope. And don't forget, you can actually take photographs with it and also record in HD. And if that insect was alive, you can actually set it so that when movement's detected, it will begin to record automatically. And when you come to turn the microscope off, it's just a longer press on the on-off switch. And just before I go, while I'm on the subject of small things, I'd just like to show you two other tools which I got from Gearbest. One is this electronic screwdriver. It's called a Wowstick. It's really good quality, well made of nice lightweight aluminium, but has a good surface finish. And like I said, it's one of the best electronic screwdrivers I've seen. It runs on two AAA batteries. You don't get these with it. They drop in with the positive forward, and then just put the back in. You can put this back in with just a coin. I'll just use my nail for now. And then you have forward and reverse. And like I said, it's got really high torque. When you put it on, you can't actually stop that. Well, you can't stop it very easily by gripping it really hard. And this electronic screwdriver comes with 3 clear tubes which are full of all different types of small screwdriver bits. Plus it comes with a soft drawstring case to keep all of it in. And this Wowstick screwdriver is absolutely brilliant for taking things apart, like cameras that have lots of small or very tiny crosshead screws. The screwdriver works by pressing the back here for one direction and then forward for screwing the screw in. You can actually go around a camera like this, and I reckon in less than half a minute you could have all the screws out of this camera to open it. And that's it. And when you've finished a repair, it's nearly as fast to put the screws back in as to take them out. You can actually stick the screw on the magnetic tip of the screwdriver, or the bit, and just put them in very quickly. And the only downside with the screwdriver is that it has so much torque that you have to be careful when you're putting the screws back in that you don't over tighten them and strip the plastic casing or the thread on the screw. It's best to actually hold the screwdriver just lightly in the crosshead, and when it comes to an end it just spins on the top, or just lightly grip the Wowstick itself so that when it actually tightens up it spins a bit in your hand. But I found the best method is actually just to let it ride on the top of the crosshead. So that's a really excellent tool to get for this type of work. And this is called a Wowpad, I think. Yeah, this is a Wowpad. It's a magnetic flexible pad. When you're taking things apart, you have a grid on here, and you can actually stick the screws in various places, obviously to remember where they actually came out of an item. I'm lucky with this camera here because all the screws are the same length, but if you had positions where a screw was a different length, you could actually use this grid to stick the screw on in a certain position to memorize where it actually came out from the camera. So that's another really good item that goes with this Wowstick. They're bought separately from Gearbest, but I truly recommend them.